Salutations, everyone. I've got a few Dogman encounters I'd like to share with you, but first, please take a sec and check out my new t-shirt. The link is in the description. And with that, on with the stories. Our first encounter happened in Habersham County, Georgia. This took place in September of 2015 at around 9:45 while driving home from an event with my fiancée. It was already dark out and it was raining when we hit the road this night. I myself was driving and my fiancée was in the passenger seat. We had been driving about 15 minutes at most when we got to the part of the road where I had noticed a rather large figure in the opposite lane of a two-way road we were on. It seemed to be on all fours and was grayish in color. It was very quick, which was startling given the conditions. I asked my fiancée if she had seen it. She said yes, but seemed spooked about it. I wanted to stop, but couldn't because there was another car about 100 feet behind us. I also didn't look back because I wanted to stay focused on the road because of the poor conditions and the fact that we were in the area we had never been in until that night. I truly don't think it was a cow from what I saw, even with the fleeting glimpse I had of it. Its hair was more canine-like than anything. I would have to conclude that it was a Dogman or a Bigfoot. I definitely wish I had been able to get a longer look at it during the daytime. It was within feet of my door, but because it happened so quickly and the fact that I kept my focus on the road instead of turning to look at it, I didn't see it clearly. Our next encounter happens in Kenton County, Kentucky, early December of 2013. I used to work about 30 miles from where I lived. One night, I had been stuck in heavy traffic coming home. Now I take the La6, so after a while, I really had to go to the bathroom. I kept telling myself that I was almost home and tried to hold it until I got there. By the time I got to my exit, I knew I wasn't going to make it to my house, so I pulled up to an area where Fidelity Investments is located and found an area that was isolated. This area is heavily wooded with walking trails and a lot of game, but it is also a very populated area. I pulled up a little side drive off of one of the main roads. The little drive is about 100 feet long with only room for one car. It went up in elevation and had bushes on the right side facing the main road. On the left side there was a guardrail and the view from the valley below. The area up there is huge and isolated with several buildings that are all spaced out. The place is dark at night because of the intermittent street lamps up there. At night, it's pretty deserted also. A few cars go through that area, though, because it's a shortcut people use to go from Taylor Mill over to the 3L highway, where there are stores, restaurants, etc. When you're up there, you're above everything around this area. When I stopped, I got out of my car, waited a moment, and looked around to make sure there was no other cars. It was winter, so the bushes between where I was and the road below me didn't have many leaves on them. Because of that, you could see right through them. I was up on a little rise about 20 feet or 30 feet above the drive, which was 4 lanes wide. To the left of me was a streetlight and more woods that went down another hill to the main road. I went to the back of my car and did what I had to do. When I finished, I stood up, and all at once, every hair on my body stood there. I knew I wasn't alone. I scanned the area in front of me and must have heard something behind me because I turned around and there was 3 deer standing there, all huddled up together between my car and the guardrail. They weren't looking at me. They were looking across the road. I looked back over there, and that was when I saw a figure standing between the bushes in front of it and the tree line behind it. It was huge. I stand 5'5". Some of those bushes are about 6 feet tall, but they only came up to the collarbone of this thing. Due to the street light to the right of it, about 20 feet away, I was able to get a pretty clean outline of this thing. It had a large dog-shaped head and pointed ears. I couldn't make out its neck, but I could make out its massive shoulders. That's when it growled. It was a deep vibration I could feel in my chest. My body just took over at that point. I have to explain this part of it to you. I worked security for years in California in a music business. As a woman, I have a real workout and trained to defend myself. I kickboxed for 8 years and worked out every day. I also train dogs, mainly German Shepherds. Sometimes I have to establish who is the alpha, and to do that, I get them down and hold them in place, grab them by their ear, and growl until they submit. Then the training can start. So, when this thing growled at me, it was pure instinct. I dropped down to a crouching position and growled right back at it. When I did that, it stopped growling and started sniffing the air. Its snout went up and it turned its head slightly as it was sniffing. It then took a few steps forward. I was still crouched down on all fours and moved forward, still growling at the thing. When I did that, it stopped. I stood up and kept staring right at it. I never broke eye contact with it. Then it slowly stepped back into the tree line until I couldn't make it out as clearly as before and started to move to the right of me. The deer were still behind me. They were so close I could have reached out and touched them. I waved my arms and told them to get out of there. When I did that, they went back over the guardrail and took off down the hill. That's when I jumped in my car to get out of there as fast as I could. I felt this thing was trying to circle behind me, and I wasn't going to wait around for that to happen. Do I think I scared it? No, but I do think I confused it for a couple of minutes, and that gave me time to move. I told my husband about what had happened up there, but I didn't tell him exactly what I saw. He would think I was nuts, and to be honest, I thought I was a little crazy myself until I saw a picture of a Dogman. I know there are other things in this world that can't be explained, and I've seen them, but this was beyond any of those things. Since this has happened, I can't take that shortcut through the area anymore. My husband took me back that way once to see the area. I was begging him to get me out of there the whole time. I thought I was going to throw up. The wildlife up there is almost totally disappeared. I never see anything on those hills anymore. The street I live on is only about a mile or so down the hill from this place, and lately we've seen coyotes on the street, like they have been chased out, and pets have started to go missing. We've also seen a large black figure moving through our backyards down here. The dogs throughout the neighborhoods go crazy regularly now also. People were calling the cops when we saw that large black figure jumping fences. I'm concerned that it has come down the hill after eating everything up there.